We need a second tier, as it's called, for new employees. We have to start over and not be so expensive and so extravagant in our spending. There are lots of different ways to do second tiers, and of course our unions don't want to talk about it. They don't want to negotiate over it. They just don't want to deal with it. And the argument is, well, let's not talk about second tier because that doesn't really help us this year. It's all out in the future, and someday somebody will get a benefit of it. But that's not correct. If we were to say, as I think we should, that the city should not pay more than 50% of the cost of benefits for new employees, that would help us next year and the year after and the year after and the year after for a very long time. We're going to replace probably a third of our workforce over the next 5 years. And if you do the math, we're spending a couple $100 million a year on benefits, paying at about 90% of the cost of benefits now for our employees. If we were to reduce that to 50% for new employees, next year it's worth about $5 million. The following year is about $10 million, and 15, 20, and it grows by about $5 million a year for over 20 years. So it is a significant thing, and we do need to take it on sooner rather than later. The other thing we need to do is to place some limits on the power of arbitrators. These arbitrators are part of a statewide arbitration pool. The state arbitration program selects the names, and we knock one off, they knock one off, and eventually you get down to an arbitrator. Not exactly a random selection, but we don't get to choose the arbitrators. They come in, they decide how much they think the pay ought to be increased for firefighters and police officers. They make that decision, they leave town, and then we have to write the checks. And some of the things they've done are just totally unreasonable. They don't seem to, they don't place much value. It's not that they don't seem to place much value. They don't place much value on the fiscal condition of the city of San Jose. They've taken the approach, well, you have the money. You could close the libraries and give it to the police officers or the firefighters, so you have the money, so we don't have to worry about your ability to pay. You have the ability to pay. Well, that's crazy, and it's part of what we need to do. So I think we need to limit the power of arbitrators to keep them from spending money that we don't have, to keep them from creating unfunded liabilities like has happened in the past, and not spending all the money if we happen to get some increases.